I'm going to assume that we're live. I'm also going to assume that that's a really weird thing my hair is doing. Why is that doing that? It looks like it looks like I'm attached to the ceiling. Good morning, everybody. We're live, and I've had a great idea. Hang on. I'm going to put the other screen on. Isn't this exciting? All right, give me just 1 second here. I have to click on this over here. Meanwhile, while that does its thing, how is everybody? How was your weekend? I sound a little bit like Marlene Dietrich because I lost my voice. And I'll explain. Hang on just a second. Okay, so pivot tree is how we, all right, get all the stars into her. So I click that, and I stop that, and now I can see you, and I can respond. And the technology is telling me that I'm too low. Or good morning, Charles. Good morning, Vern. Yes, I'm thrilled that you caught it too. Isn't this awesome? So for all of you joining us, here's the deal. Comment. Say stuff so that I know you're out there. It's like working in radio. You know, when you work in radio, the only way you know that anybody was listening is when the ratings come out 3 months later and they fire you. There's no time, no chance for, incremental improvement. It's like yes or no. All right, so clicking on this thing to make it go away. All right. So what do we have? Lost sound. You lost sound? I'm here. Turn this up. Charles, can you hear me? Somebody tell me if you can hear me. I don't know. I didn't touch any sound thing. Ah, it's okay now. Wonderful. Isn't this amazing, Vern? It's like we're just having this conversation. So, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. We went to a fan event, and oh my God, it's like a whole bunch of timid creatures stepping out of a cave, and peering into the sunlight to see if everything's okay, and if it's the coast is clear. It was a weird experience. I'm just clicking on something there. Okay, it was a weird experience for all of us. I think the exhibitors who haven't been out in a while, and the public who hasn't been out in a while, and the organizers who haven't been out in a while, and we were all sort of trying to remember if we knew how to fall off our bicycles. And of course, once you fall off a bicycle, you never really forget. You're kind of a little bit out of practice. So Saturday was a bit hesitant. Friday night load-in is Hernia City. Everybody dragging and lugging and moving their cars and their trailers around, and so I wanted to talk. When I realized what kind of photos our first spate of photos looked like, I realized this was a perfect opportunity to show you what I mean about all the stuff I'm talking about. There were some very, very interesting people there, and it was really fun. It was a hockey arena without the ice. Just that all of that soft, comforting, forgiving concrete to stand on for hours and hours and hours till my knees locked, and then I was walking around like somebody who was about 105. So at one end of the hockey arena, at one of the goal ends, there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think 8 of us, 8 so-called celebrity guests. And they gave me a booth and a half. I myself had the half. The huge booth was the lockers. And they took me at my word. They believed me without seeing why it was so complicated and why it was so important to have such a big space. And then once the lockers got there and my crew assembled them, and they were an opportunity for people to go around behind and open the door and step through the way the kids used to do on the show. All of a sudden, the organizer said, "Oh my God, what is this?" And I said, well, until the moment that they open the door, every memory they have of watching any television show in the 80s is in their past. The minute they come to my booth and they open that door from behind and they step through, the past has become the present. And they are the kid stepping through to say, hey, Christine. And it blows them away. And that's why you need me at these events. Because the other people are the actor. And, you know, I had my mom costume there. And so people were saying, oh my God, like, it's the real mom costume. Is that the real mom costume? And that was the way all the celebrity booths are. You go and see, well, good morning, Christopher. Good morning. Christopher Pakenham came to the booth. He was assigned as a volunteer. And it took me about, I don't know, 3, 2, 1 to drag him through the keyhole into the other side. And suddenly he wasn't a volunteer helping out at the booth. Suddenly he was crew. And I don't think he ever expected it. Viking strategy, sneak up when they're not expecting it. So when we come to an event, whether we can actually bring the real lockers or this amazing banner that I have, a photograph of the lockers the first time we assembled them, and somebody said, make sure the doors work, and so I opened one and I pointed through in the middle. I have that banner, and it's great, and people love it when they see it. Oh my God, that's really you, and that's really the lockers. Nothing compares to actually touching the lockers. Nothing compares to walking around behind the lockers where the actors stood and seeing that we all signed the insides of the lockers. All those kids, when they were 12, put those signatures there. It's like, I don't know, going into a tomb in Egypt. So what we represented was a different impact, a different kind of celebrity experience compared to, hi, I'm so-and-so and I start on these shows. Because those shows are from the 80s. The theme was the 80s, and there we are. And people step up and say, oh my gosh, I really loved you in this, and can I get a picture, and can I get a picture with you? And they stand in line to see somebody. So at my booth, there are no lineups, and there is no table separating us. So just before I started this video, and if you scroll back down, you can see I posted the 2 pictures. The first picture is of 3 of the actors from Degrassi. And the reason I posted it is because, and the 2 people on the left of the pictures you're looking at it, those are the organizers of CAPE. That's Randy Sauvé and his wife Carol Sauvé, and they were amazing. Those 3 people coming out of the lockers, those are Degrassi actors. So Pivotry is profiling what people want and shifting our stance to give it to them. Those actors remembered You Can't Do That on Television. Even though they were famous, even though they were working, everyone knew You Can't Do That on Television. And Randy and Carol went over, and this was at the very end of the show, and they said, do you want to be a surrogate You Can't Do That on Television kid? Why don't we come over and do a group shot of you coming through the lockers? And they did. Not only that, but I said, you realize that all famous people are divas, and divas wear feather boas. You have to wear a feather boa, darling. And they all said, well, absolutely, absolutely. And so they put on my feather boas, and they stepped around behind my lockers at my booth and came through. And I, as a result, brought them out of their focus into my focus and blended them. And that picture is the absolute iconic picture of the way we remember the 80s as kids, because there they are, recreating their kid moments, but they're doing them on my turf, because after all, Vikings. Is that amazing? That's just the most incredible thing that we pulled off. We blended the message for Randy and Carol promoting their next show. And somebody says, what does it look like when you showcase the 80s at Cape? They could say, it looks like this. Because everybody from the 80s hung out together. We were all the cool kids back then. And there's the picture that proves it. Isn't that incredible? That is pivotry. That's strategic shifting, turning the focus so that we're not chasing anything. We're not trying to get after that ball. We haven't pivoted to run in order that we can maybe score. No. We own the game now. It's on our terms. And now that I have you, I'd like you to put on my feather boa and sign this. And do you have the keys to your car? That is really important. And it's such a perfect picture for it. The other picture below it, that's my official Care Bear helping me celebrate the 40th anniversary of the Care Bears. Her name's Jessie Hamill. And she walked around all day saying, it's my 40th birthday. It was hysterical. She was my main photographer. And she said, do you want me to come as a Care Bear? And I said, well, duh, yeah, of course. Oh my gosh, yes. So every time she was walking anywhere, oh my God, is that a Care Bear? And she would say, yeah, it's my birthday. Come to my booth. And they would all follow her. She was like the Pied Piper. And then she'd say, Abby, look who I brought. And then we would position them for pictures with feather boas and coming out of the lockers. And it was a completely interactive experience, like nothing else at any booth anywhere. And the other sneaky thing, so the picture of Jessie standing there, me slightly in the background getting stuff ready, and behind the wall there's the two caricatures of me. Here's what's important. The table, every fan event, every trade show, they give you a table. And the idea is you put your stuff on the table so that people can come along and they can wander along like window shoppers and look at your stuff and say, how much is this? Okay, good idea, except for one thing. It does something to the conversation you're having. It creates a barrier. It creates a wall. And people who are new at trade shows start to think of the people walking by as spectators, sidewalk supervisors. And the people walking by start to think of the people behind the table as the pitch artist selling. That's not the way it's supposed to be. But no one has figured out how to fix that. Well, I have, but, you know, pivotry. Here's what I did. I turned the tables around. I didn't position the tables so that they were a barrier between the visitors and me. I turned them lengthwise. I had two booths. I put the two tables together. One booth was a locker. I took the table from that booth and put them together lengthwise. And I laid out all the stuff so that there was no barrier. So that they could walk around three sides of the tables, look at every single thing I had to offer them. And I could come around from the back or come over from the lockers and walk around with them and say, have you seen this? Do you love the hat? How do you feel about this? Do you have a mom glove? Do you have a Care Bears coloring book? And I would show them things. And Christopher, who was assigned to our booth, I walked him around and I said, you see how it's different? You see, look at any of these other booths. You see how they are? Do you see how we're different? This is what we do here. We never turn our back on the people because these are the visitors who have come to see us. you invite special people to your house, you don't say, oh yeah, hi, how are you, and turn your back on them. You invite them in and say, let me show you the new couch. Can I get you something to eat? That's how we treat the visitors at the show. They're friends we just haven't met yet. And we get them all excited. Which era are you part of? Were you a Teddy Ruxpin fan? Did you watch Care Bears? Are you can't have it on television, or just have you been watching me for so many years on Facebook? And they started to tell us what they like and who they are and their special memories. So it wasn't people saying, and how many times were you slimed? And, oh my God, you're just like a real person. No, we were having genuine conversations. Christopher was blown away. He'd never experienced it before. Jesse kept saying, oh, you're going to love this. It's crazy. It's really fun. Greg, our staging manager, he was reminding them, this is how it works and this is how it's done. And helping out with Jim Clark and Sandy and Dave, putting the lockers together, getting everything positioned in exactly the right way so that it looked inviting and natural and spontaneous and welcoming. And there's a really important reason for that. It's not about me doing it. It's about all of us need to focus on that. If everything we do, we remember that the purpose is to give other people the opportunity to say, I want to do this again. This is cool. This is amazing. They're really great at that booth. Jessie kept saying, do you have any idea how many times people are coming back? She walked around with her camera. She went over to different booths and people were saying, oh my God, it's so cool at your booth. Will it be okay if I come back? And she's saying, absolutely. Abby loves to see people. That's why we're here. We want to meet you. We want to know about you. And oh my God, did you see the KBRS calendar? I got one. It's incredible, isn't it? And so we're having a conversation about all the things we all have in common. All the cool memories we all have that make us smile. And the reason that's important is, right now, things that make us smile are in very short supply. You might say, they're back ordered. Hola, Garen. Yes, we are safe. We are not only safe, we're strutting our stuff. Every opportunity we have to be having a good time so that people over there look toward us and say, well, what are they having? I want what they're having. Meg Ryan. I'll have what she's having. I want people to say, okay, seriously? Can we get her back? That was cool. On Friday night, the Sauvays decided after everybody had unpacked that they were going to have a dinner. And we were so exhausted. I said, you know what, I'm going to pass on the dinner, but I'm going to see you tomorrow night at the after party. And they said, okay, because you could stop by. No, the crew and I just, we unpacked the lockers, okay? It's I don't know, it's like, one arm lifting the Eiffel Tower, only times how many lockers are there. And so we had our dinner and we talked about what we wanted to do. And I said, tomorrow night I want to stop in at the party. And the reason I want to stop in is I want the people who decide to go to the party, who may not have come to the show, I want them to realize what they missed out on so they'll come on Sunday. So we went, and there was a cool band, and the big hair from the 80s and playing the loud music from the 80s, and everybody's up kind of doing the dance floor. So I said, I'm going to go over and just dance on the dance floor a little bit. And I didn't dance with anybody. I just went up and danced. And all these people are turning around and said, oh my God, it's Abby. And so we're all doing a dance thing and we're having a really good time. And The next day at the show, the vendors who were at the party were coming over to my booth. They hadn't come on Saturday necessarily, but they came on Sunday to say, "Hey, Mom, cool moves on the dance floor." So what that did, you see, is it gave them a different perspective and a different focus and a different filter to look through at me. On the Friday when we were all setting up, we were all busy setting up. So I'm a vendor. I'm a celebrity vendor, but I'm a vendor. On Saturday, I'm on Celebrity Row, and some of them stopped by from time to time on their way to the bathroom or whatever, saying, "Hi, Abby, saw you yesterday, how you feeling?" But Sunday, we had shared the dance floor. And I wasn't Abby over there or vendor over there. I was one of them on the dance floor, doing the thing. And now they were meeting me on a level playing field. It was a totally different conversation that we had. That's a pivotry move. I went in and stood in the middle of their focus so that it shifted. And they went, oh, Abby's here. Oh, she's dancing. All right. I'm not different. I'm not somebody you can't approach. I'm not somebody who's going to sit over there and just quietly sip on my drink and then, leave and say thanks so much and go away. No, you've invited me for the weekend. Brace yourself. I'm here for the weekend. And that's what the business of show is about. All business is show business. The most important person at the show is the audience, is the guy who bought the ticket to come in the door. Without the people buying tickets, there's no show. It's a rehearsal. And we did a lot of great work. We put a lot of effort into it, a lot of creativity. But if there's no audience, there's no one to go away and say, "Oh my God, you got to come with me. I want to go see it again." There's no one to make us memorable. There's no one to learn who we are. There's no one to make us famous. Unless we treat the audience like the most important person in the room. That is a pivotry move. People go to a show. People go out for dinner. They get dressed up. They go to a party to reward themselves because they deserve it. When they get there, we are the reason they came. Our job is to tell them, "You're right. You do deserve it. You are the most important person. That's why we're here. With you. For you." That changes everything. 100%, forever, immediately. And the first time you do it, and you know you're doing it, the first time you deliberately say, "I'm going to see if all these things that Abby is saying ring true for me." They have to ring true, otherwise you'll say, "Okay, love her, but she's out of her mind," because nothing. So you need to try it and prove it to yourself that I know what I'm saying and that it's amazing. Because once you see the difference, there's no going back. The quality of the experience is off the charts. There are no words for it. None. Now, I'm going to tell you a couple of stories that are pretty funny. They both happened on the weekend. The first one is my fault, my bad. So I'm wearing my mask, right? So I have my mask on. Here's my mask. I love this mask. Matt Urquhart, the artist. Ready? Here we go. Oh, look. It's Abby this way, It's Abby this way, and it's Abby this way. You can't escape me. So I have my mask on, and because I have my mask on, my voice is muffled, right? So if you ever work at a live event where there's a crowd, you automatically raise your voice. If you work on stage, theater, you have to raise your voice. But you can't scream at people. You can't do a romantic love scene screaming at somebody. You can't yell at the top of your lungs, I love you, so the people in the back row can hear. What you do is you breathe deep. You breathe from your diaphragm. So you don't force your throat. Yeah. So I've been a stage actor for 137 years. And I know this. And I forget. Every first night I forget. And I push all my volume from my throat. Every time. Every time. Don't know why. I guess I'm distracted by how exciting it is to be opening. Anyway, sort of around, I don't know, 3, 4 o'clock on Saturday, I began to feel a little, and I thought, oh, geez. So Sunday morning when I woke up, I had almost no voice. So I'm drinking coffee, and Carol Sauvé had these great lozenges that had eucalyptus. And I was able to get some of my voice back. But I kind of sounded, early on Sunday, I sounded like a 12-year-old boy whose voice was changing. It kept disappearing. Yeah, you know. And then by the time I had to go and do my panel, I sounded like Marlene Dietrich. And here's what's really funny. I am perfectly capable of doing a Care Bear voice. I can do any of the character voices I've ever done, and I can do them just like that because that's part of my skill. It's my training, it's my practice, it's my skill. So, this looks like a job for Frank Bear is a little harder to do when you sound like Marlene Dietrich. I don't think anybody has ever thought of hiring Marlene Dietrich to be a Care Bear for a clear and obvious reason. It sounds freaky. I wish. I wish. I mean, really, nobody. And while I was doing it, and the whole thing was videotaped, and while I'm doing it, I'm thinking, I sound really certifiable. I do. But because it made me laugh, you know, oh my God, how did you get laryngitis? I'm an idiot. I think they forgave me. So that was the first thing that happened. The second thing that happened earlier. And again, also my fault. Because every time I do one of these events, about halfway through it, I say, every time I do these events, I forget to get those clickable, click-together anti-fatigue foam mats that can save your legs and your feet. I always remind myself to do it, and then one thing and another, and then when the event's over, you go home and life continues and you don't do it. So it was, I don't know, Christopher will remember more clearly. Poor Christopher. We had security walk us to the bathrooms so that, you know, after all, we're the celebrities, I guess. So I said, where are the bathrooms? And he said, they're upstairs. I said, no, where's my bathroom? Where's the celebrity bathrooms? There's upstairs. So I looked over, you know the nosebleed section at a hockey game? I mean the very nosebleed section, the peanut gallery seats? Yeah, it was up those stairs. And I looked at him and I said, are you kidding? And he said, no. I said, okay, well, you're going to have to help me. And I had to haul myself up 1 foot at a time, painful stair at a time, all the way up 1,137 stairs to the very top. And poor Christopher kept saying, I'm so sorry. It's not your fault, Christopher. We get to the top. I use the bathroom. I come out. He said, you know what? It just occurred to me, next time, you could use the downstairs bathroom that the cosplayers are using. Pardon? Pardon? He said, yeah, I don't know why I didn't think of it. I see. What? go to the top of the stairs. So I had to haul myself back down the stairs, clutching the handrail because my knees weren't working. My knees had locked up from standing in this small area. I wasn't walking all over the event. I was standing on concrete. Stone. I get to the bottom of the stairs, and the head of security, his name was Rick, poor Rick, long, long hours, late nights. He was exhausted. And Christopher said to him, Rick said, "Are you okay?" He's watching me hobble back down the stairs like I'm 600 years old. He said, "Are you okay?" Christopher said, "She's really having trouble with her legs from standing on the concrete." I told her, "Next time we'll just go and do this." Rick says, "Why didn't you use the elevator?" There's an elevator. There's an elevator. I don't think anybody in their right mind would ever expect me to imitate a windmill, but I was doing a fairly decent job of it. So I said, and here's the thing that flashed into my head. I said, "I have a question. It's just occurred to me. You know, all those people that scale Mount Olympus and Mount Everest and Mount whatever, where are their bathrooms? Do they have cosplay bathrooms at the bottom, at the base camp? Or do they have a bunch of them that, how do they do that?" Because I just did Everest myself, and there had to have been an easier way, and apparently there was. So who forgot to think about that? Well, everybody who was busy. Carol herself was dressed as Wonder Woman, fabulous costume with these high red boots. She had some health crisis a year or so ago, and she suffers from vertigo a little bit. What color were the stairs? Oh, they were the same shade of red as her boots. When she's coming down the stairs, she can't see where her feet end and the stairs begin. She was clutching the handrail as well. So here's why I'm telling you that story. It's not to perpetuate the fact that I'm an idiot. Yes, Christopher then. Christopher, who was horrified at what happened. It's my first time volunteering. She's made me part of the crew, and now I've got to fix this. He got me my own personal bathroom. I had my own bathroom. It was one of the bathrooms that the referees use for the games, and I was wearing an orange feather boa, and they shed all over the place. So there's an orange feather in the men's referee's locker bathroom. I'm sure the first time one of them goes in there, they're going to go, "There's a feather." And I said to Rick, "You might want to tell the Zamboni people to double check. Sweep away my feathers. We don't want anybody tripping and hurting themselves." I will never be allowed back. All of these small human details, we have a choice. We always have a choice. We have the choice to act like a precious diva and say, "Well, I don't think that's acceptable. I mean, do you have any idea who I am, darling? Do you realize what you are expecting me to do?" Or you can say, "They maybe only had 5 billion details on their checklist to take care of. Maybe. And here's one they missed. It impacted me, and it made me laugh hysterically because they're so..." Poor Christopher. I will never live that down. That's right, sweetheart, because I'm going to tell the world forever. But with love. I'm telling it with love. You get to be famous for this. If only you'd known ahead of time that the fame moment for you was that. And this is what I'm talking about. This is why I'm going long today for a really important reason. We always have a choice, not to let mistakes go. We need to recognize the mistakes, examine them, figure out how they happened and why they happened, and how to fix it. How quickly am I going to be buying those foam anti-fatigue save your poor knees mats? This week I have off, and I won't be just sitting there staring at the wall saying, what will I do? I'm going to be unpacking all my stuff and ordering those mats, because I have now learned the lesson, and it's only taken me 30 years. Abby Haggard, keen but slow. So that's the first story. Or is it the second? That's the story about people making honest mistakes, pointing out the honest mistake and saying, you're forgiven, just don't make me do it again, or I'll have to kill you. And I don't really want to kill you for a lot of reasons, one of which is the booth is very busy, and the other is, where the hell am I supposed to bury you? It's raining outside. So we need to be forgiving, not forgetting. We need to remember and learn and do different. Do that as a checklist to double check. Why? Because every human being on the planet eventually at some point needs to go to the bathroom. Let's make it a relief. Let's make it a break for everyone instead of an ordeal. How do we do that? We pay attention. And how did they not pay attention? Because they were paying attention to the other 4,999,000 items on the list of things we must do. So, all is forgiven. The second funny story was the panel. So a panel at one of these events is an opportunity for the visitors to come to a room where they can meet the celebrities, talk to the celebrities, and have conversations, lengthier conversations, ask questions, get answers, in comfort, because there are chairs, and there's microphones. And usually, if the organization is well put together, the whole thing is recorded. And then people who couldn't make it, get to watch those videos and say, oh my God, that looked like fun. I must be sure to go to the next event. So it's an opportunity during the show for an added value experience. And it's an opportunity after the show to promote the next show. So it's a really, really brilliant concept. The guys, I do need to plug them because they actually have a page on Facebook, and they're on Instagram as well, so you can look them up. They, you must have the patience of a saint to set up and deal with celebrities, because every celebrity comes in with different quirks and foibles about microphones and cameras and where they need to sit and how they like to interact with the room. And so, that's the pain, the suffering you bear. But they were great. They were just absolutely fun. They were professional. They took my joking and teasing them really in great style. They were funny themselves. They were really witty and quick. It was a great time. It really was. So so Randy and Carol, genius you for having them, and guys, genius you for just being you. I really appreciate it. Asks the questions, who basically is your on mic, on camera handler. And who they had for this was from the radio station down there, Boom, and his name is Bill. And Bill and I had a wonderful conversation at my booth beforehand. I went and found him and I said, you need to come to my booth to understand who I am in order that you can, handle this interview. He came to the booth and I got him to try on Mom's 40th anniversary slime hat. And it fit him perfectly. It fit him as though I had had it made for him. And I said, well, you need to wear it. You need to wear it when you're my moderator. There's no ifs, ands, or about it. So we talked for quite a long time about radio. He had no idea that I'd done morning drive radio. When it got time for us to do the panel, we were there a little early, and they had all their equipment set up. So Bill and I just started talking. And when the guests started coming in and sitting down, Bill said, so for those of you just joining us, we're just wrapping up the pre-panel, and now I'm going to introduce the panel. And so we started all over. But by that time, it was too late to do a formal Q&A. It was too late because we had become conversationalists. We'd been having a great conversation. So we just continued it, including the audience in the conversation. I was asking them questions. They were commenting. Bill was commenting. It was just like having people over at your house. We just had this conversation. And then when it was over and we headed back downstairs and the guests went back and went around to other booths, a really cool thing happened. People who were at the panel came back a second time and a third time to my booth to talk to me in person, to have another look at the things at the table, to decide what the heck, I think I want to get this now that I know Abby personally. So they spent more time and more money because they had joined me on the inside of fame, because they realized they were on camera. They were on microphone with me. They weren't over there and I was over here. We were in it together. It was us doing that panel. And the other remarkable thing was the photographer with Convention Junkies comes back downstairs. He's doing his job, going around taking pictures. He came over and he said, I have an idea. You might think it's crazy. You can tell me to go to hell. But I'd like to do the post-panel. I'd like to do a quick follow-up interview with you now that I see what you're all about. Because I do quite a few interviews myself. And I said, I'm totally in. Let's do it. And by that time, it was getting close to closing, so there were fewer people. It was okay for me to leave the booth for a little bit. So I said, but, if we're going to do an interview together and you're going to be on camera, you have to wear a feather boa. I don't work without feather boas, and no one who works with me works without a feather boa. I'm in. So we gave him a slime green boa, and we strolled back up to the panel area, and we had a chat on camera. And it was awesome. And the reason it was awesome is because between the first conversation and the second conversation, he looked me up. He looked up some of my credits. He did some deeper digging. He said something really interesting that I appreciated a lot, and I want to mention it. He said, people don't just hire you once, do they? And I said, I know, right? What is with that? You'd think they'd learn their lesson. And he said, well, I know why they don't. I know why they hire you more than once. They can't quite believe what just happened. They want to make sure it was real. It was fun. This is a hoot. You don't let anybody stay over there in the spectator area. And I said, that's because life is not a spectator sport. We're not sitting in the cheap seats. We are the show. All of us. People need to know that. And he said he'd looked up E43 in motion. He'd gone to my Story Me TV website. And he said, it's interesting. you ask a lot of questions on a website. Usually people provide information, but you're asking questions. He said it threw me for a bit. What do you mean by asking all these questions? And I said, I need people to understand that I'm not selling them on something I'm doing. I'm inviting them to do it with me. This is a collaborative effort. Story Me TV is our stories translated into different platforms. It's who we all are. Why can't I use the substance of what somebody tells me for a book? Why can't I use the substance of that for a TV show? Why can't I, get their permission, change names, change specifics, and use that amazing pivot moment in their lives as content and credit them? Why can't I do that? I can do that. It's my production company. And he said, so you really mean it? It's really interactive. And I said, well, yeah. And I said, you changed your idea about your role during an interview with me. You came back down and said, I want to re-ask, I want to remake, I want to redo. I want to be the one interviewing you. And I said, damn straight, let's do it. Because that's what this is for. That's what this is about. The ripple effect is huge. If you're having a good time, everyone wants to know if they can have what you're having. And the answer is, of course. All you have to do is get in the boat. So today, coming back from that weekend, and I have, oh my God, I have more stories to tell you that are just hysterical. And of course, I'll be back on Thursday to do that. But between now and Thursday, it would be a great idea if you got really selfish about this information I'm sharing with you. Thank you, Charles. Charles just said he loved his interview with me. And I'm really glad. I'm doing Pivotry in Motion interviews with people who have had some opportunity to really shift all the gears to change their lives in some way. And they're going to be part of this book collection that I'm working on. And there's room for more. So I'll get back to that on Thursday. But Charles, thank you for mentioning it. So here's the thing I would really like all of you to do between now and Thursday, and after Thursday. Think about the way I took my tables and said, not simply that I'm pivoting them 90 degrees. That's not why I did it. I pivoted those tables to make them accessible, to make my stuff accessible, to make me accessible to my guests, to make them feel that no one at my booth puts a barrier between us and them. We are all in it together. Whatever it is you do for a living, wherever it is you are, if there weren't people buying the products or the services that are provided by the place you work, you would not have a job. It's as simple as that. If there was no one interested in the reason your company exists, you would be sitting at home reading the classifieds, looking for work. who is the most important person in the equation? Your guests, your clients, your customers, your visitors. Without them, it's a rehearsal. So, when you go to work and you say to yourself, okay, shift in attitude, give them the opportunity to see that you are glad they came. You, personally, you. Hey, nice to see you. How's your day? Instead of, hi, how are you? Good, and you? Hi. How are you today? How was your weekend? Talk to them like real people. How are you? Good, and you? That tells me that they say that to every single person that comes in the place, and it has become an automatic thing. You know what is really funny? If you do this, when you go to you go to a retail place, and they have a policy where the cashier asks, air miles? And you say, oh yes, here's my card. This is sneaky as hell. When you step up and it's your turn, first thing you do is hand them your air mile card. Hand it before just right then. Hi. Say, how was your weekend? Great, good, and you? Excellent, here's my air mile card. Oh, thanks, tap. They hand it back to you. Guaranteed, I want you to prove me wrong. They go through, they scan your stuff, and then they're going to say, air miles? And you stand there smiling and say, ooh, do I get to log them twice? And they go, oh, sorry. You can catch them on everything that has become automatic pilot. If you catch them and you come back and say, here's me trying to get double the air miles, and you become real to them. You're not just the next customer and my feet hurt. You're, oh my God, the last time, I can't believe it. You're real. And their moment is real. You have used profiling to pivot their reality. You now are their focus. So I want you to try that. Not for the retail thing necessarily, but to talk to them in a different way. Hey, Mom. Hey, Friend Bear. Hey, Miss Jessie. I want you to talk to people at your work, sure, your colleagues, but the visitors, the guests, the customers, the people in the parking lot. I want you to talk to them like they matter, because they do. They're the ones keeping you in business. Not like the customer's always right and no, just like they're human. They're human just like us. Talk to them like that. And if you have funny reactions, you can comment next time, and we will extend that conversation, because that is a riot. It's such an eye-opener for us, okay? That's the first thing. The second thing I want you to do is I want you to look at the way your business is done. And I want you to say to yourself, if I got to make decisions here, what would Abby look at and shift? I guarantee you, we were the only booth at the Cape event that turned our tables lengthwise. I know that because we walked around. Why wouldn't you turn your table sideways? Why wouldn't you turn it 90 degrees to have more access? Why would you separate yourself? Why would you create a barrier distance from people by putting a wall between you? If you want those people to get excited about who you are and what you do to the extent that they pay money for some of the things that you have for sale, why would you put up a wall? Most people don't think about it. Well, it's just, that's the way the table was. Well, you know you can move a table. You can move furniture. We can change things and make them our own. We can. We have the skill. Last thing I want to tell you on the change things. I want to tell you about human nature. It's a really interesting thing. And after I tell you, you'll notice it. Oh, and by the way, before I move on to that, I know that a lot of people right now are saying, well, I feel a little safer with the table between us. Sure you do. And it still creates a barrier. And it still puts up a wall between you. And it still prevents you from being together. So, you feel a little safer? Here's an idea. Wear the mask if you need to feel safe. And when you turn the table around, don't lick them. You don't need to stand next to them and hug them. You can stand a couple of feet away. What you want to do, rule number 1, is make a friend. Give them permission to have a different and fun experience with you. Give them permission to feel that you heard them, you saw them, and they matter. Think about that. It's very cool. It's very cool. Okay. So, the last thing. When we were leaving, the number of people who came up and said, oh my God, I hope you come back, was very cool. It was huge. And it wasn't because we did anything special. We just made sure everyone felt seen and heard. At the end of the day, I went up to Carol and Randy and I said, so, how did I do on my audition? And separately, I asked them each. And they both went, what? And I said, my audition. This was my audition, right? I want to know if I got the part. And they both burst out laughing. And they said, oh my God, of course you got the part. And I said, oh good, so I can come back? I can come back to Cornwall? And they said, well, yes. And that was the first thing. The second thing I said to Carol, as we were both hobbling through the lobby with our stuff, I said, I want to know who I need to talk to about the aliens who stole my knees. And she burst it. She had to actually lean on something. She was laughing so hard. She said, oh my God. And I said, I know, right? I'm an idiot. And she lost her voice a little bit, got it back. I was still croaking like I am today. And she said, I can't believe after all the years I've done these things. And I said, oh, sweetheart, take a number. I've been doing these things longer than you, and I'm as big an idiot. And so we had a 2 girls who do this for a living laugh fest at what lunatics we were from forgetting all the important stuff. But it didn't matter, because the most important thing that happened was everyone was glad we came. Everyone. I'm looking on social media today. All the people who are thanking them. And Randy was saying, we do this for Cornwall. We do this for our people. It's our way of thanking the community. We love it here. We want people to feel that they matter to us. And this is how we show it. And I said, you know what? We're cut from the same cloth. So, that is today's episode of Live. And I have so many more things to tell you about just the incredible feeling it is to connect and help people relive how they felt when their favorite show was on TV. How special it feels when they come up and say, I felt really crazy. I didn't want people to think I was crazy. But when I saw what you had for Care Bears, you just have no idea. You have no idea what this means to me. One girl, I said I was the voice of 3 bears. And she said, really? Which ones? And I said, well, originally there were only 6. And I was the voice of 3 of them. Wow, which ones? And I said, I voiced Friend Bear, Wish Bear, and Love-A-Lot Bear. And she burst into tears. Like, really, put her hand over her mouth and she said, those were my 3 bears. Oh my God, I've met my 3 bears. And she was crying. And she said, I don't know how to thank you. And I said, well, I know how to thank you. And I gave her the Care Bears wristbands, and I said, these are my bears. And now you're wearing my bears. You're wearing your bears. And she just, her husband gave her a tissue, and she said, this is the most special moment ever, and walked away. What did that cost me? Nothing. What did that mean? Everything. And we never know, any of us, any of you, we never know when one small thing that we do differently that pivots the reality that people expect and shifts the focus. We never know when we have given someone an unforgettable treasure. We never know. Because 99 times out of 100, they never tell us. See, Jessie just said, it was awesome to see that. She was standing, and she's one of the bears. She's Friend Bear, dressed as Friend Bear. When she watched that girl, it just, well, good morning, Lyle. It brings tears to your eyes, because that girl, that woman felt seen, she felt heard, she felt valued, she felt that her memory was important to someone other than her. She was validated every which way there is, and she shared that. So we knew that we'd done good. We knew. And that is magic. All we need to do is a little of that. Change the feel of the ripple effect. And we have fewer people behaving badly. I want to say one last thing before I sign off. So, Jessie, you're still there. Christopher, you're still there, I hope. I'm going to say something, and I want you to comment to prove me right, so that the other people see it. We were there Friday from 2 o'clock in the afternoon. We were there Saturday from 9 in the morning until 5. We were there Sunday from 9 in the morning until 5. And we were with about 4,000 people on the move all the time. Correct? I'm correct. Here's what didn't happen in all that time with all that people, with all those people. Ready, Jessie? Ready, Christopher? No one was spitting. No one was saying, you're not the boss of me. No one was pushing. No one was shoving. No one was yelling. And no one was disconnected from the moment because they were too busy scrolling on their phones. Correct? Correct? Thank you, Garen. Am I right? No one, absolutely none of the 4,000 people over the course of 3 days behaved badly. Not a single person was acting out because they were wearing their rage on their sleeves. Nobody. Nobody. Jessie just says, yepers, that's right. Name me Find me any other situation you have been in recently, like in 2 years, where there has been a lot of people. Tell me you didn't see a single solitary person being rude or pushy or stupid. Tell me you didn't see a single solitary person completely disconnected because they were scrolling on their phone. Not happening. Not happening. We did that. Cape did that. We created a ripple effect of connection. We created a ripple effect of togetherness. And everyone shifted gears. We infected every single person with pivotry. Everyone, you're right, Jesse, everyone was perfect, everyone was polite, everyone was excited, everyone came back and said, I'm not being a nuisance, am I? Is it okay to come back? I just wanted to say hi again because, yes, please step in, be fabulous, stand there with the goofy, happy smile on your face. Please do that because you are now going to infect all those other people, not with COVID, but with fun. Now, tell me you would rather belong to a different tribe than that. I don't think so, kids. This is the A tribe. This is the group to be part of. The one that says, I'm walking here. I'm walking here. My feet are killing me. My feet are killing me and my knees have locked up. And if Christopher ever makes me climb stairs again, I'm going to punch him in his ear, but with love. I don't see any reason. We did that. We did that. Effortlessly. And you know what's really funny, Jesse? It didn't occur to us. We never talked about it in the after. We didn't talk about it as we were tearing out. We didn't have this conversation. I just watched it happening and I said, yep. Because I'll tell you something. Every live event I do is the same. How long do you think it's going to take me and my team to transform Brockville in May? How long do you think it's going to take us to transform the Pop Expo in Ottawa in June? How do you think we're going to switch people around to shift gears at the event Fanaticon 3? 5 minutes is all it takes. The minute they walk in the door and they feel the ripples. All the rage goes, because rage is about fear, and rage is about uncertainty, and rage is about emotional exhaustion, and frustration, and feeling helpless, and unimportant, and scared. And we don't allow those things at our events. Those things aren't welcome. We want people feeling awesome. We want people feeling, okay, I like this. I'm going to come again. I want to see you again. And then, you know what happens? They go home, they go on social media and they friend us, and the tribe grows. See how sneaky it is? I was saying all weekend long, I look like this. I look like this. I have a booth like this, and I'm still capable of sneaking up on people. How is that even remotely possible? How is it that nobody sees me coming? And the answer is they're too busy smiling. They're too busy having a good time. So that's it. Oh my gosh, I went long. I'd say I'm sorry, but I'm not. This was important. It was wonderful. And I am so delighted. I am so happy that you took the time out of your day to spend this time with me. It was amazing. Please like if you haven't. Please comment if you haven't. Please share. Tell your friends that this is a crazy time, that I'm on air. See, on air. I'm on air Tuesdays, and Thursdays at 10 o'clock Eastern Time every week. And I have stuff to share and funny stories to tell. And you are the reason it works. Okay? So you know the drill now, right? Be good to you. You're awesome. And don't forget to hug your loved ones, okay? Okay. Bye-bye for now.